Hi everyone, Marla Miller from marlamiller.com, presenting our 131st quick query critique. I'm sorry I wasn't here last week, but my computer crashed and my hard drive just failed. Brand new computer. So back up everyone. Fortunately, I didn't lose any data, but I lost a week worth of work. So I'm playing catch up. And rather than do show don't tell this week, I'm going to do query letter because I have several and I know these authors are waiting, so I really want to get to them. But show don't tell will be back next week. Okay, here we go. Dear Agent, there's a large hole in his heart that will need to be surgically repaired within his first year of life. The words echoed in my aching heart. Don't the simple task of raising a healthy child push mothers to the brink of madness? Isn't simply being a parent terrifying enough? What did I do to deserve this? As a pediatrician, I knew immediately that I was not alone and that I had good reason to be afraid. With 75% of marriages ending when a child is born with a medical issue, not just the health of my son, but also my marriage was in jeopardy. Mommy Madness is my 47,000-word memoir describing those terrifying months between prenatal bliss when I thought my biggest challenge would be raising a boy to ecstasy in our real bringing baby home from the hospital. I would be honored if you would take an exclusive look at my book. Neither Tiger Mom nor Buddhist priest, I quickly exhausted my coping skills and careened close to antipsychotic medication. Fighting uninvited snapshots of children I had cared for as a doctor, I longed for a lobotomy while we anxiously dreaded what we had to endure. People tried to offer reassurance. Well, good thing you're a doctor, they would say. Really? Is it good? It felt more like a liability. During the months leading up to Max's surgery, my world was a minefield of terror as what was supposed to be a joyful welcoming of our son evolved into a terrifying nightmare. The chasm between my physician husband and I grew so wide that even my best creamy saffron garlic shrimp could not help. Seasoned lightly with humor and heavily with frank openness, my memoir transcends the mother-child relationship and exposes the soft underbelly of two of life's most challenging shared experiences, being forced to confront your worst fears and worrying about the health of a loved one. My worry word pedigree is impeccable. For the purposes of my writing, it carries as much weight as my Bachelor of Arts from blank college or my MD from blank. An English major who stubbornly became a pediatrician, my passion has always been advocating for needy children, yet coaching countless parents through frightening times with their child's health did absolutely nothing to prepare me for my journey with Max. Inspired by new health problems with Max in April 2012, I started a blog about the nervous condition of motherhood, which has international readership and is linked to support sites for families of children with congenital health problems. I write for Blank and Blank magazine, where I'm currently doing a series on protecting baby. My manuscript is complete, and I would be delighted to send you my book proposal for possible representation. Thank you so much for your time and consideration. Looking forward to hearing from you. Okay. Just a couple of things on the actual structure of the query letter before I go into the content of this query letter. She has, at the end of paragraph 1, I would be honored if you would take an exclusive look at my book. I would delete that. Simply delete it. And because you've already taken care of that at the end of this, when you said my manuscript is complete, so I would not give exclusive to anybody, quite frankly. It's kind of, we're past that. Unless you have an agent who loves it and says, give me 2 weeks to read this and don't give it to anybody else. If you got that, cool, but most of the time you won't have that, so get rid of that sentence. The other thing is that you've got a manuscript that's complete, 47,000 words, which is very short for a memoir, by the way. You also say that you can send the book proposal. So are you sure? I just want to clarify. You have a book proposal as well as a completed manuscript, and you want to send the book proposal. So I'm assuming that the agent that you're pitching to wants book proposals for memoir submissions rather than the first 3 chapters. So just make sure that you know that about your agents. Some agents want book proposals for creative nonfiction. Some agents don't. Just make sure that you know what this agent wants, because part of the appeal for an agent is that she or he knows that you have done your homework and have studied their requirements. So that's just a heads up. Now, in terms of the, and one other thing, and this is just a general. When you're telling people that you have a website that has international appeal or that is very popular or that is whatever, make sure that you can back that up. And the way that we back that up nowadays is simply by going to the website and looking at the number of people who are following. And you can find that out through how many comments that website has. If your website has very few comments, it's not a good idea to tell people that it's a very popular website. I'm not saying that this is true, but I know that writers tend to do this, and I would encourage you not to do that. Unless you have a wildly popular website, and when I click on it, I see all these comments and, on all these pages. Then, cool, go ahead. Okay, so what do I think of this memoir, Mommy Madness? I think that it's a great idea for a pediatrician to write a memoir that essentially says to the universe, I'm just like you. In fact, I might be worse because I know too much. I totally relate to this because I was a nurse practitioner during all of my children's young years, and any minor thing that they had, I, would have to stop the demons in my head from suggesting that it could be something more serious. So I get it totally, and I think that a memoir like that might be really, really comforting for parents. However, I don't know if that's what this memoir is about, because what you have said here is that your memoir is about a little boy who was born with a congenital defect, and it's about a marriage that is in jeopardy because of it, or could be in jeopardy because of it, and so I'm not sure what it's about. If it's about the fact that you and your husband were shocked that you now became you joined the league of your patients who come to you with sick kids, I would really zoom in on that, and I wouldn't take my eyes off of that. If it's about two people who have a baby who's got a congenital defect and perhaps a marriage that is already strained, and maybe the baby's birth is kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, then that's the story. And that does happen. If it's about a woman who feels really bad that this had to happen to her, I would be careful of that, because I would just be real careful of that. And I only suggest that because of a question that this writer asked in the beginning. What did I do to deserve this? So, be a little careful of that, because it feels a little bit like maybe we're a little more feeling bad than looking ahead and trying to problem solve. But I don't know, because this query letter really is not as focused as I believe that it could be. I think that this author would really benefit from talking to someone, and I'm not pitching myself, but talking to someone who can help her figure out what the book is about that's already written, so that she can get down in a query letter in 500 words or so what it's about, because that's what you're going to hook your agent with if you decide to go down that road. And I'm not quite sure at this point that this writer, at least from the query letter, I'm not sure that perhaps this book is in draft form still, and maybe it is a work in progress, as many books are, and perhaps the query letter has been written too soon. I don't know, but a conversation with an editor or a writer who has some ability to help this writer zoom in on what her story is about, Mommy Madness, I think would help her. Because in theory, I think that a pediatrician writing a book about how this happened to her too is a really good idea. I hope that this is helpful. Until the next time, be well, keep writing, and remember, writing is rewriting.